Donald Trump sending 1,500 troops to Persian Gulf amid rising tensions with Iran. The crisis escalated in late 2019 and in early 2020 when the members of the Kata'ib Hezbollah militia, which is a part of Iraq's popular mobilization forces, killed an American contractor in an attack on an Iraqi base hosting American personnel. In retaliation, the U.S. conducted airstrikes against Kata'ib Hezbollah's facilities in Iraq and Syria, killing 25 militiamen. Kata'ib Hezbollah responded with an attack on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, which prompted the U.S. to deploy hundreds of new troops to the Middle East and announced that it would preemptively target Iran's proxies in Iraq. Tensions between Iran and the U.S. escalated in May 2019, when the U.S. deploying more military assets to the Persian Gulf region after receiving intelligence reports of an alleged camping by Iran and its proxies to threaten U.S. forces and Strait of Hormuz oil shipping. The 2019 to 2020 Persian Gulf crisis, also known as the Iranian-American confrontation and the crisis in the Gulf, is an intensification of the military tensions between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America in the Persian Gulf region. The U.S. began a build-up of its military presence in the region to deter an alleged planned camping by Iran and its non-state allies to attack American forces and interests in the Persian Gulf and Iraq. This followed a rise in political tensions between the two countries during the Trump administration, which included the withdrawal of the U.S. from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the imposition of new sanctions against Iran, and the designation of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization. In response, Iran designated the United States Central Command as a terrorist organization. Several merchant ships in the Persian Gulf were damaged in two incidents in May and in June 2019. Western nations blamed Iran, while Iran denied involvement. In June 2019, Iran shot down an American RQ-4A surveillance drone flying over the Strait of Hormuz, sharply increasing tensions and nearly resulting in an armed confrontation. In July 2019, an Iranian oil tanker was seized Britain in the Strait of Gibraltar on the grounds that it was shipping oil to Syria in violation of European Union sanctions. Iran later captured a British oil tanker and its crew members in the Persian Gulf. Both Iran and the UK later released the ships. Meanwhile, the US created the multinational international maritime security construct, which sought to increase overall surveillance and security in key waterways in the Middle East. The United States attributes the worsening of relations to the 1979 to 81 Iran hostage crisis. Iran's repeated human rights abuses since the Islamic Revolution and its growing influence in the Middle East. Since 1995, the United States has had an embargo on trade with Iran. Iran and the United States have had no formal diplomatic relations since 1980. Pakistan serves as Iran's protecting power in the United States, while Switzerland serves as the United States' protecting power in Iran. Contacts are carried out through the Iranian intersection of the Pakistani embassy in Washington, D.C. Since 1995, the United States has had an embargo on trade with Iran. In 2015, the United States led successful negotiations for a nuclear deal, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, intended to dismantle Iran's nuclear weapon capabilities. And when Iran complied in 2016, sanctions on Iran were lifted. The Trump administration withdrew from the nuclear deal and reimposed the sanctions in 2018. Since this time, relations between the United States and Iran have worsened, and two countries have come close to conflict during the 2019-20 Persian Gulf crisis. On 14th of July 2015, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA) or the Iran deal was agreed upon between Iran and a group of world powers. The P5+1, the permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, the United States, the United Kingdom, Russia, France, China, plus Germany and the European Union, the Obama administration agreed to lift sanctions on Iran that had devastated their economy for years. In return, Iran promised to give up their nuclear capabilities and allow workers from the UN to do facility checks whenever they so please. President Obama urged the U.S. Congress to support the nuclear deal, reminding politicians that were worried that if the deal fell through, the U.S. would reinstate their sanctions on Iran. Following the deal, the U.S. supported a UN Security Council resolution that endorsed the JCPOA, the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231 of 20th of July in 2015. The resolution welcomed Iran's reaffirmation of the JCPOA that it will under no circumstances ever seek or develop or acquire any nuclear weapons. The US has accused Iran of violating the 2015 UN Security Council resolution after Iran's satellite launch. Iran launched its first military satellite called Noor into orbit. This launch has raised tensions with the US at the time the two countries are already facing off in the Persian Gulf. Noor, the satellite took off on the top of a relatively unknown rocket called Khazid or Messenger from Iran's central desert and reached an altitude of 425 kilometers, that is 265 miles above the Earth. The Noor satellite was launched by a three-stage rocket that was powered by a combination of solid and liquid fuels. The US has accused Iran of violating the 2015 UN Security Council resolution. As per the resolution, Iran cannot undertake any activity related to ballistic missiles designed to be capable of delivering nuclear weapons, including launches using such ballistic missile technology. President Trump says he does not want a major war in the Middle East, but many allies and observers worry that hardliners in the US and Iran are on the collision course towards conflict. The US exit from the Iran deal and the maximum pressure campaign have escalated tensions between Washington and Tehran in recent months. Iran has called the announced deployment of US troops to the region a very dangerous game, and the alleged involvement of Iran in the oil tanker attacks this summer only exacerbate fears of the military clash, whether by design, by miscalculation, or by accident. The Atlantic Jeffrey Goldberg is joined by William Burns, a career diplomat who served 5 US presidents and led the secret bilateral negotiation that resulted in the Iran deal.